everyone is asking, how? How could you possibly cheat on Nia Long?
Oh, man. Oh, man.
So unfortunately, this brother Ime Udoka, and I'm hoping I get that pronunciation right. It might not be
Who
the
cares with what he done did? Who
the
cares?
head coach of the Boston Celtics has been caught up in an issue. He's basically been caught having an illicit relationship with a member of the Boston Celtics organization. He is currently in a relationship with Nia Long. In fact, I believe they share a child together. And literally, before we started recording this episode, the Boston Celtics have announced that they are going to be suspending him for 1 year, and they are going to essentially reconsider the relationship during that time. So it's not even guaranteed that the brother is going to be able to hold on to his job. Hudson, your thoughts?
And as usual with these things, the rumors are flowing, right? The rumors are flowing. So I mean, rumors of, hey, they think it's more than one woman,
Mm,
within the organization. Supposedly, one of these women, if not the main woman they seem to be discussing, is supposedly the wife of one of the team presidents or executives or something like that. Um, there's rumors that the two, Ume, or whatever his name is, and Nia Long were separated
mhm.
already, and what it boils down to is we have no idea what the nature of their relationship was in the first place. Um, Neil Long had been interviewed before about why they weren't married yet, and she has some very interesting takes on marriage in general. So, it leads
Absolutely.
me to believe that we really don't know her takes on relationships in general. So I don't really know what the scope of their relationship was. Possibly he wasn't cheating. Maybe this was some arrangement because I haven't really heard anything come from Nia Long. I haven't seen anything she said, but she's getting tons of support.
Mhm. Yeah. This is one of those rare situations where I actually really appreciate the coverage of Skip Bayless. Usually, Skip Bayless from Undisputed, he has a show with Shannon Sharp. Usually, a lot of what he says is just absolute nonsense. And
Mm,
these type of guys, just in general, I feel like they love to pile on to black men, especially athletes. But he was sitting at that table and he said, I've been in this business for, he was like 30, 40 years. Let me be absolutely clear. When I look at the details of this situation, there is nothing here that is out of the ordinary.
yeah.
Coaches or people in the staff having relationships with the women they work with is has been commonplace for decades. And
Hmm.
he also made it clear like it's commonplace that these people will have multiple partners. So you might have three or four guys who are with the same girl. So even if he did actually sleep with the wife of one of the heads of operations or whatever, like, I'm sorry, I just find it difficult to believe that this is the first time that this has happened and that this is some sort of new situation. And yet, it is the first time ever in the history of the league that an organization has treated a head coach like this. How can we not feel like it's racial?
Hmm.
I'm finding it very, very difficult to look at it in any sort of other way, especially since it's in Boston.
I
And we
was finna
all
say
know,
racial Boston.
come on
Nah.
now, goes together like, come on, America and apple pie. We know how Boston treats black folks as much as Bill Russell tried to do to improve their image. We all know what happens to black folks when they're in Boston. This treatment of a head coach to basically put his story completely out on Front Street and then suspend him for the year and make it clear you're giving serious consideration to taking away this brother's job, completely unprecedented. Never
Yeah.
has happened before in the league. I think it's absolutely disgusting.
That's what leads me to believe that one of those rumors about it could have been an executive's wife or something might have some truth to it. But I was looking at Twitter on some of the reactions, and one of the more popular people, because, or maybe he was popular because of this tweet, because it was funny as hell. He says it's kind of strange that you suspend a coach just for getting bitches. I mean, like why is that even a thing? Why does that even happen? And I don't want to skip over the fact that it's Nia Long here.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of men's dream, this woman. And man, especially the black women have put Nia Long
On a
on
pedestal.
top of this pedestal, on top of the pedestal, on top of a ladder, on top of a bus, anything on top of on top of the Willis Tower.
Mhm.
They have put her in queendom right now. And they are I could only imagine, what if she was totally blindsided by this, and
Mhm.
she got like 300,000 people in her DMs right now,
Come on now.
in her in her Twitter, in every social media, account she has, telling her that her man is pretty much community dick. and they and she's got to sit here and look at all this. I gotta only hope that she has social media representatives who watches her stuff for her, so she
Mhm.
don't have to constantly watch it. But I can only imagine who would want to go through seeing all of this pity text or
Well,
whatever from everybody.
honestly, I feel like, I mean, from the relationship side, if she was serious about dude and she thought she was going to marry him, then obviously this is devastating and it's very painful.
Hmm.
But if she didn't feel that way about him and he was just really something to do, from my perspective, when I look at it, this is probably great for her career because she's mentioned before that she has actually had some trouble getting some roles and that she felt like she was passed over for things she should have gotten. And this blow up and the huge wave that has resulted in social media because of it shows how strong her fan base really is and how passionate people are about her. And so I feel like, if there were things she was trying to do before, she might actually be able to do them now.
Well,
That's
she's already missed out on the Little Mermaid role. I mean, that's gone
wow.
now, so she won't get that one.
Some tells me she'll be all right. She'll be all right. She's probably looking for some different things. But circling back to what you talked about this pedestal that people put her on, right? So, hey, I'm absolutely in the list of people who think Nia Long is absolutely beautiful, absolutely amazing, just a stunning, gorgeous woman to look at. That being said, I am not on the list of guys where like she is my, fantasy girl. Like, oh, give me a night with Nia Long. And all the interviews I've seen with Nia Long, from my perspective, it's not just the guys and the women who put her up on a pedestal. She puts herself up on a pedestal. Absolutely. And I'm sorry. I just don't believe that she's a giver in the bedroom. She comes off as someone who is completely all about herself. I think I think anything you would want her to do that is just about your pleasure alone, you would get virtually nothing from
Come
her.
on now, you
So
ruining a
so
lot of guys'
completely
fantasies now.
from
You
my
can't be saying she
from
a
my
selfish
perspective,
lover. You can't be saying that.
mm. From my perspective, I can appreciate you while at the same time recognizing that nah, it's like the girls who you see twerking, but you
Hmm.
also feel like they probably can't take no dick. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you real good at shaking when there ain't no dick in you,
yeah,
but I
yeah.
know, but I know once we get down to it, all that shit goes out the window. Like I'm too old to be phased by just the way you
Oh
look.
my
So nah.
god. I gotta think. See, for me, all that fantasy of it being Nia Long, it'll go out the window the very moment she eat like some Mexican food and she blow up the bathroom. Like
Wow.
all that fantasy
That's
just
your
go
thought?
that just goes right out the window. And it's gonna happen to everyone. I don't care when it is. Maybe I wake up early and she lay out a bit fart in the bed, all that fantasy gone. You just a woman now. You out from that queendom. And you know,
Wow.
so you better have more than just that fantasy I've been seeing on TV to hold my attention at that point. so
Wow.
I don't know about the giving thing. I don't know. I'm not as good at catching up on those signals as you may be.
Hey, I see it, brother. I see the selfishness.
But I can tell you someone I feel really sorry for in all of this.
Hmm,
Because, like I said, I don't know what the nature of their relationship was. So I don't know to feel sorry for Nia Long
the
until she
child.
really kind of comes out and says what actually,
Mhm,
how she actually feels about this. And even then, who knows if it's more publicity versus who knows?
mhm.
So who I really feel sorry about is is the woman that they started posting pictures side by side with him
Mm.
on. And I thought to myself when I first saw the photos, like, because there was no, it didn't exactly say that this was the woman. Like,
Right.
all the reports kept saying a woman who was on the staff. And so they kept posting this woman who's supposedly a director of something or something or other. I can't even think of what it was. I don't even want to mention her name or her position anyway because I don't
Yeah.
want to persist this.
Right.
But they started dog walking this woman,
I
talking
mean, her
about some.
career might very well be over. The
Well, they
Celtics
dog
didn't.
walking this woman, talking about some. How could you go for that instead of Nia Long? You leave Nia alone for that. And I'm sitting there thinking this might not be the woman. Like, y'all do realize that y'all can't just go to the team website and find out every single person that
Come on
works
now.
for the organization.
They don't
You do
realize that.
realize that.
They don't realize that at all.
There's tons of women that work
Mhm.
within the organization. Okay. Now they don't, most of them don't have these high ranking things that are going to get them put on the website, but they have plenty of staff on hand in other areas
So
besides dealing with the basketball part of it.
the problem is that when the Celtics announced this, they specifically said he had a relationship with someone in operations. And so I think people are taking that verbiage and assuming that they can use it to narrow down which specific women he would have been involved with. And
See,
so when
you
I
know,
first when this story first broke, I think there was like three women where they said it has to be one of these three. Why they've narrowed it down to this specific sister, I'm not sure. I don't know how they've come to the conclusion that, oh, it must be her. But I absolutely agree with you. She's getting dog walked on social media right now. I, frankly, I feel like there's some colorism involved in it because, like you said, she's a light skinned sister, and Nia Long is very dark skinned, of course. And it's not like there's a whole lot of black women or dark skinned black women who get the kind of shine and recognition that Nia Long has had. So I think a lot of dark skinned sisters, that's part of why they hold her in such high esteem. And so to know that this brother was in a relationship with Nia Long and then decided to cheat on her for some little light skinned girl, I think there's a lot of sisters who are insulted by that. And it's
mhm,
fueling some of this fire. But just in general, y'all, you don't know anything. Nothing has been actually officially announced. Why are
exactly.
you putting the dog walking this woman like that when you can't even be sure you have the right person? But
All right, they
regardless,
picked the only woman they could find on the website.
come on
I
now.
mean, that's all I could think of. That's all they did.
And regardless, to me, it just adds another layer of why the Celtics shouldn't have done this. Because now, not
Mhm.
only you've significantly damaged him, but honestly, he'll be all right. Like at the end
Yeah,
of the
he'll
day,
be
he's
fine.
proven he can produce winning teams.
Yeah.
So hell, even if they decide to get rid of him, he can get another job. Like I'm not really all I think he's been treated poorly in this situation. This is unprecedented what they've done. I think it's wrong, but I'm not actually worried about him the way I'd be worried about him if like this was an NFL head coach. But the whatever sister he's been in a relationship with, when that information comes out, her career's ruined. Like they're
Mhm.
barely putting women in these positions of power as it is.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
you're basically destroying her for something white people have been doing for decades in the NBA. Like, this is not some new shit. This is not something that's out of the ordinary. Why is it okay for you to destroy black lives for something that white folks have been getting away with no problem? No problem, not even
Exactly.
a whisper for since before I was born. Like, come on, man.
Exactly.
Come on. I find that incredibly repulsive. I don't care if he slept with some executive's wife. It's not the first time some
Oh yeah.
executive's wife has ended up being in a relationship with a head coach for a team. They found a way to deal with it behind closed doors, whatever needed to happen. Y'all could have done the same thing, but you didn't decide that he was worthy of that type of respect despite the level of success the team had last year. That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
absolutely crazy.
And maybe he stepped out because, like you said, maybe she not a giver. And so,
Come on now.
maybe
Come on
I
now.
mean, look, at the end of the day, a
Sisters don't
woman's a
want to hear
woman,
that part.
a man's a man. Just because, just because she happens to be famous,
Sisters don't want
just
to hear that part.
it is what it is. And if he's not getting what he needs, now I'm not giving him an excuse for cheating. I'm just saying to put her on the pedestal like they're doing. I
Hmm.
mean, she's a woman just like all these other women out here,
Hmm.
right? There's no difference in that regard. If a man is going to cheat, he is going to cheat.
To be
And
honest,
likewise, if there's problems in the relationship, there's problems. It doesn't matter how much clout, how many movies you've done, TV shows, none of that matters.
I'm not mad at sisters. Like, yo, they see a sister and they feel like she's been wronged, she's been abused, this dude is cheating on her. I'm not mad at them. It's the brothers that irritate me. Like, why are y'all following behind the sisters and saying the same bullshit? Like, talking about, oh, how could he do this? Like, y'all niggas ain't never cheated on nobody. Stop it.
I know,
Stop
right?
it. Let's be serious. Think back to the reasons you cheated on old girl. And then if you gonna talk on this, be like, hey, these things might have been happening. It ain't because he a bad guy.
Mhm.
Is she a woman like just anybody else? Come on now. Stop it.
Hey, but look,
Stop it.
a serious tip to all the men out there, any woman who's really serious about the cheating game and cheating on their spouse or their loved ones or even having relationships, they don't do it at work.
Come on now.
Guys, come on. Meet these women somewhere else. Stop picking up. Look, I had my mistake in the past of dating someone at work, and it was so awkward
Me too.
when it broke off.
Me too.
You don't need that kind of stress.
You know what? You just opened up a whole new thing that I do feel like needs to be said. Like, for the most part, again, my empathy, my heart goes out to the brother. I feel like it was wrong that this happened to him. That being said, like you just mentioned, you a grown ass man. You know better than to enter into an illicit relationship with a woman you work with. That's number one. Number two, come on now. We talking about a sports situation. There are escort agencies set up for these athletes. They're getting sex whenever they want to, and they don't have to leave their hotel rooms. Like, if it was to that point where you really, really needed a release, where for whatever reason you need to step outside your relationship, the infrastructure for you to be able to do that
It's
in a way
there.
where it would be private is right there available to you. And you have the funds to take advantage of that and ensure that these type of situations do not happen. Like, this was incredibly immature on your part. You do not. I'm sorry. When
Yeah.
I had a relationship, when a woman that I was working with, I was like, what, 21, 20, 22, something like that. Like, you do that when you young and when you dumb, and then you
Mhm.
grow up and you never forget those lessons. You do not enter into sexual relationships with women that you work with, and you for damn sure don't enter into sexual relationships with women who work for you. It's
Yep.
always going to end bad. Don't
Yep.
do it. He should
Yep.
know that. He should know. I don't know what his experience has been, but he old enough. He should know.
Yep. Now watch out for the one or two that come into our comments and say, I worked with somebody and dated them and we married now. Watch out
Get
for
the fuck
those
out of
two.
here, bro.
You two
That's
people
not the
that
standard.
worked out for is not the standard. So don't even try to come in
Please.
and comment that and think we're gonna
Mm-mm.
let that slide.